How can superhero films be consistently good? Hey, what's up, nerd fam? This is your boy Gashawn. I want to welcome you to Into the Nerd, where we love movies, whether they're based on comics, manga, or books. We just love watching superhero movies, right? Well, I do, right? But if you do as well, make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel for some more of that content. So, just thinking about some recent releases like Wonder Woman 1984 and some upcoming stuff that's coming out, and I just kept thinking, why is it that we keep running into like problems with certain superhero adaptations? And I think it really comes down to just a key fundamental problem that's happening in the creative process. And it's the people who are making these movies don't really care about the characters. They really just want to make their own interpretation of the character, but not what the character has been for about 50 or 60 years. So let's just take what I just mentioned in Wonder Woman 1984. Patty Jenkins wanted to show the more softer side, to focus on Diana, not too much of like the Wonder Woman part. The problem is, in the comics, she's both. She's both a warrior. She's both. She's a lover and a warrior, a lover and a fighter, however you want to say it, right? She's ferocious and soft. She has that duality. She's intelligent. She's all of it. But she chose to focus on the one side, and the side that she likes the most, rather than what's true to the character. And you have to wonder, if you're making a superhero movie, you are most likely going to run into people who actually know the character. Now, there are general audiences that don't know, but even general audiences who don't read the comic, when they watch that movie, they were like, what's this? This doesn't make any sense. And I get it. Even with all the plot holes, the weird nonsensical stuff that happened in that movie, the character just wasn't done justice. And it didn't feel right because they looked at the previous movie, which she was almost a completely different person in that, which is okay because people could change. But the character in all of its written history, she's grown and learned some things, but her core is still, she was raised as a warrior for about like almost 1,000 years. So that is her main process. Like she would rather reason with you, but if she has to kill you, that's also on the menu, right? And tons of other things, like we can talk about, like Man of Steel, like just how what Zack Snyder did with a lot of these things, where he did his interpretation of Superman and of Batman. And I get it, there's creative license, but you gotta understand, these characters have motivations and they have reasons for doing the things that they did in the comics forever. And you can't just put like iconic events and certain things about them, like the Batman killing thing, and being like, well, Batman never actually killed anyone, he just puts them in situations for which they happen to die. What? Like, he literally said something like that for Batman vs Superman, even though he was blowing people up. And the whole like breaking the neck scene in Man of Steel, like they did not set up as to why that would be such a problem with him. And why would he do that? Like, if he's powerful enough to do that, he could have moved Zod out of the way. Like, just a lot of weird things, or even him being fast enough to get his father out of there. And then having his father die in Man of Steel, which would then make Clark become an entirely different person, because he's who he is in the comic book based on what his parents taught him. And they were with him all the way until he was like an adult. So you're changing fundamental pieces to these characters, and this is why they don't end up, because this is what you want them to be, this is what you see them as. And there's a reason as why Henry Cavill Superman, it's not his fault, because it wasn't given as many dimensions as there are in the book, which what you gotta do. You gotta think about that. I talk about Spider-Man, who all his villains are so important, because every villain, he learns something different about himself, about being a hero. Even his losses, there's just so many layers to Spider-Man. And when it comes to the adaptation, it's like they don't care about that stuff. It's like, I get it. A lot of studios, like, how do we take advantage of a character who a lot of people know, who's highly recognizable, and how do we make the most money out of it? I get it. I understand the business aspect of it. But that doesn't mean that can't be balanced with artistry, knowing a character. And there are some movies that have done that very well. I think the Russo brothers, while not perfect when it came to like Captain America, Winter Soldier, and the movies they did, which was like Civil War, even though I have a problem with it, they got certain characters right. Like, my favorite version of Black Panther is in the Civil War movie. He's pretty much terrifying. Like, he was very sure of himself, he was confident, and he seems like a person who, even though he understood like international law, said that he couldn't go around chasing someone. It was the honor. That part was ruthless. That Black Panther, I could see blowing up a whole other universe to save Wakanda, which is something that he did in the comics, which was in the whole Incursion storyline. But as much as people love the Black Panther movie, and this is not a knock on Chadwick Boseman, because Chadwick Boseman just acted what was given to him, the Black Panther that was in the Black Panther movie is not really like the one in the comic. The one in the comic is a genius. The one in the comic is also like a heavy military mind, knows all forms of martial arts. It's not super like, like he's not ditzy. Like, he built half of the Avengers stuff. Like, he knows about his suit. He's also like someone who like understands how to talk to women. Like he's very assertive. And sometimes that's also a downfall for him, because he understands like he doesn't know how to not have his way sometimes too. Like, you see how he talks to women, like certain women in a, it's not like misogyny, but like he's royalty, and he's so certain about, he's like, you know what, I know like most times I'm right 9 times out of 10, so it is what it is. You didn't see that there. Like, he's an awesome character, multifaceted character. Like, you didn't get that. They actually spread a lot of his personality traits around to like Nakia and Okoye. Shuri is a genius, but she wasn't like the wonder kid. Like, she's a genius, and she's also like ready to get into the Black Panther suit. That's not what she is in the movie. They just kind of made the characters one note instead of multifaceted like they are in the comics. But that's what they wanted to see them as. But if you're looking at what they are in the source, that's not what it is. And you can still like the Black Panther movie. You can still like that. I'm just saying, in comparison to how I know the characters, I can tell that it wasn't really about servicing who they are in the source, but more like, but how do I want to tell the story? Like with Killmonger and all that, which I could go all day about what happened with Killmonger, but whatever. It's just, I wish that the people who are making these films weren't just putting their message out. And you can still get your message, but honor the character first. Like, even in Birds of Prey, when you saw what the producers and everybody were saying, they were saying, oh, well, the reason why this movie didn't do well is because men are misogynistic. Is that what it was? Or is it because you called it a Birds of Prey, the emancipation of Harley Quinn? It's like, it wasn't really about Birds of Prey. It was a Harley Quinn movie, which we would have been fine with, but you sidelined all these characters. We want to see strong women. In the comics are playing strong. But in the movie, you relegated them to what? To nothing. Like, you did that to Cassandra Cain, her, whose mom is Lady Shiva, you did that to her. Helena Bertinelli, you did that to her. Like, all these people who, like, if you were actually honoring the source material, you would have a whole group of badass women doing a whole bunch of like cool stuff. But instead, for what? You got Cassandra Cain eating ice cream on the couch with Harley Quinn, daughter of a League of Assassins member and the deadliest woman on the planet. That's what you got her doing. Okay, it just screams people who don't care about the source material, but it was like, we need to get the empowerment going. Do that while making these characters like they are and not less. I don't know, am I asking for too much for asking them to pay attention to the source material for which these characters come from? If I am, let me know. But like, Deshaun, man, you are crazy for asking these people to pay attention to the stuff, like, to all this material. You are crazy. And if I'm crazy, all right then. All right. I get it.